February 9th, civil servants who are in government are supposed to have resigned to seek the elective posts in the August 8th general election. One thing is that one of the most affected sectors is Uhuru Kenyatta's cabinet. And one thing that I've also come to realize is that it is a situation that is going to affect the last lap of Uhuru Kenyatta's legacy projects, because some of his close confidants and really integral members of his cabinet are going to down the tools so that they can go to the community and seek the vote. I have seen that this is coming at a point where also the former regional county commissioner, George Natembea, resigned to go and seek the Trans Nzoia governor's seat. Also, Ababu Namwamba had hinted at vying for Busia governor's seat, but again I saw in a rejoinder, that is not going to seek that post. So there is that post-mortem by these civil servants. I want to tell you people that these civil servants who have been in government and now wants to come back to government through the elective seats are going to find it very rough. They are going to find it very rough to get those seats because the elective politics is different from the desktop leadership. Being a cabinet secretary, the PS and CAS, those are desktop, that is desktop leadership. That is a leadership, that is a position where you're appointed when you're at home watching news and you see a president appointing you to that position. But when it comes to governor seat, senator seat, and the MP seat, it is totally a different scenario. Now, as of now, some of the big names that will be rolling out from President Uhuru Kenyatta's cabinet are Charles Keter, who actually vied for Kericho's senatorial seat in 2013 and won, but was picked by President Uhuru Kenyatta to his cabinet. Charles Keter have now announced that he's going to seek the Kericho gubernatorial race. There is also John Monyes, who is going to seek the governor's seat in Turkana. There have also been rumors that Mutahi Kagwe might be an ideal Azimio la Umoja candidate to beat Mutahi Kahiga in Nyeri, who is vying on UDA. And there are many other names that are going to roll. But then let me ask you people, what do you think? What do you think? Do you think these leaders, these civil servants, are going to have smooth transition? The answer is no. If you're new to this channel, kindly take a second, subscribe, like this video, and also give us your comments here as we discuss on the murky political waters that civil servants will sail through to come back to government after the general election. So, one of the reasons why their comeback to government is going to be very difficult will depend on the choice of political party they choose to. Now, those leaders who will choose UDA, and that will be facing off with Azimio la Umoja, which is partly 60% is inclined towards government, are going to find it very rough. Because my reason is they will be forced to oppose the same government that they have been serving. And now that is where the problem will come. Because he's been sitting in a cabinet, he's been closest to power, he's been sitting with President Uhuru Kenyatta, but now when he crosses over to UDA, he's going to face candidates there, and for them to sell an agenda of changing whatever is on ground, they must demystify the scores of the current regime. You must underestimate the current regime for you to show that, of course, you are going to bring something new in the table. So one thing that will happen is, and I can tell you, for example, in the Treasury, the Cabinet Secretary in charge of Treasury, Uhuru Kenyatta, is interested in going back to seek the Marsabit gubernatorial seat that he lost in 2017. So he's been sitting in Treasury. He goes back to seek that gubernatorial seat, and coincidentally or somehow he lands in UDA. How can he come back and fault the government that fed him? Understand? So look also at Peter Munya, who was a Meru governor from 2013 to 2017. Then after that he lost and he was brought into the government, cabinet secretary. Now he's in charge of agriculture, if I'm not wrong. How can he go back to Meru and fault the government if he lands in UDA? And don't be made to believe that it is impossible. It is possible, because politics is about interest. So what will Uhuru do? All those candidates that will go against government by going to seek those elective seats in UDA, all the corruption cases will be revived against them. If you've served in Treasury, or if you've served perhaps in the Ministry of Health, for example, Mutahi Kagwe, if he happens to vie on UDA, then I can assure you that all the ghosts of the KEMSA scandals will come back. Ask Anne Waiguru. Immediately she decamped to UDA, it did not take 1 week. She was having a date at the EACC. So these leaders will be distracted because they will be making frequent visits to EACC. And if there is something that a politician seeking an elective seat do not want, 4 months to general election, and you have not yet cleared with the EACC, or they are still arresting you every Friday, the political opponents, your political opponents, will use that against you. I can assure you. Secondly, they are going to lose the state machinery. I can assure you, Uhuru Kenyatta, Peter Munya, Nyeri governor, the health CS, Kagwe, if they vie on Azimio la Umoja, they can still maintain their security. It can still happen. But if you cross over the other side, the packages that you will get are not going to be there. So they are going to lose that state machinery. Third, they will lose touch with President Uhuru Kenyatta. I remember Rashid Chesa saying that immediately he bolted out, he was removed from the cabinet. His friends who were in government never talked to him. Same with Mwangi Kiunjuri, who cried out that President Uhuru Kenyatta scuttled his 2022 plans. So that is one reason why, that is one of the challenges they'll be going through, the choice of the political party. Second challenge that these civil servants are going to have is the scorecard. Defense with scorecard. If you are a cabinet secretary, for example, Peter Munya, or let's just pick, for example, in Siaya, where James Orengo is facing off with Charles Owino. Tell me, if between James Orengo and Charles Owino, who is going to be judged on merit? Charles Owino, who was a police spokesperson, will be judged on what did you do because you are in government. But a politician like James Orengo will have the euphoria of Raila Odinga and the political activities that he's been doing. And so in terms of judgment, for example, if you go to Peter Munya, agriculture is a very contentious issue in central Kenya. So if he goes to seek the senator or the governor seat in Meru, he will be asked, what did you do when you are a cabinet secretary? I'm not saying that this is the same issue with incumbents, but I'm trying to compare civil servants and those coming from the corporate world coming over to face off with politicians. So that thin line is going to give them tough time to present, or rather to defend themselves on ground. Another challenge they're having is lack of rapport with the community. Unlike governors, MPs, already elected leaders who are going now, for example, if you go to Kakamega, Malala has been a senator. And Malala has been running projects as a senator. So he has been gelling with the community. You can't compare Malala to a civil servant or someone who was a cabinet secretary seeking the same seat in Kakamega, because that civil servant perhaps was working for government, and government did not have a very big project in Kakamega where he can append his name and say, I brought this. But elected members of parliament are in rapport with the community. These members of parliament and senators, governors, they attend funerals, they attend weddings in that community, they attend church services. But now, some of these civil servants are just seen in TVs, in news. That's where they are seen, signing papers, flying with the president. That you cannot take to a common mwananchi in the community. So that lack of rapport is going to give them is going to make it very difficult for them to even win those seats. Lastly, these civil servants and politicians, corporate leaders now joining politics, are latecomers. Guys, this is what is happening. If they leave, if you resign in February, you only have March to campaign. Actually, you have that. By the time you resign, you've chosen your party. So you're going to campaign for 1 month. Then in April, they're the party primaries. So the party primaries in April will decide whether they're giving the ticket or no. Even though when it comes to primaries, when it comes to party primaries, it's a whole mess that I don't believe in. I believe on consensus. So, if you lose in nomination in March, in April, then between February and April, your political career is done. Because these other people have been campaigning. But for the civil servants who are in government, like Wamalwa, even though they have been campaigning, but they really don't have that much of the time and freedom to campaign. They don't have that space, that political space to campaign by the time they were in office. So they're going to have their intense campaign and to strategy and come up with a manifesto within 1 month. And I can tell you that there are people whose political career is going to end by the end of April. They will resign in government in February. They will campaign in March. In April, they will go for primaries, nominations, lose those nominations. Then 1 month in May, they will be considering moves. They'll come up as independent candidates and they will be flawed in the general election. By then, they will be done. So, if you ask me, these civil servants, those people who have money have two options. One, just wade through. If you have your money, you can bankroll candidate A and candidate B. For example, you can bankroll a governor aspirant who you know is very strong and popular and can win, so that in the event that you just remain in government but you bankroll those elections at the county level. So in the event that maybe if you're in government and Azimio do not win, or you do not really get absorbed in the next government, you can always have a fallback in the county. That is one. Second option is just save your money now. Just save your money. Don't join politics. Work for government. Enjoy these perks until the last day. Then after that, you venture in business or just get yourself active. Then somehow, somewhere, you might land back in government next after the general election.